23. Your reactions can't be emotional and you must react only in a moral manner. If solely attacked or affected and moral equals firm, confident, thoughtful, that is best for everyone, including firstly, you, your self-interest. To be reminded, you're in this game alone, it's only between you and the source where you receive your moral energy from number 1.1. Therefore, you should always view it from the perspective of self. Your reactions should always follow, up to the level of requirement, to deal with the threat/danger, immediately, so you would be able to work on the goals you've took in the process. Number 2, you would understand it fully later, when you would progress with the content. Next, when you encounter anyone who would employ such tactics, be more conscious to what you're doing upon yourself, because by responding with what he intends, you're losing by it your happiness. Deal with it the right way, from the very beginning. It's important to learn it, because moral energy is your longevity, quality and fullness of life. If you're constantly drained from it, the last is of low value. You're required obligatorily to learn how to successfully and effectively win those battles, and as a side effect, increase your level of it, in each and every account, because it's the most important thing after the survival means, in this reality number 1.1. Stop, until such responses would become your second nature. It's of the highest importance. Proceed only, when attained preliminarily. Apply. And follow. Forever. Your attacks back should be responsive. Never get into any discussion or fights with any of the parasites. Quickly and nicely handle them. It's more than just enough to mind something and leave, to use your energies in a more productive way. Number 2. Mirror always best their moves. For instance, if they say to you, "You're stupid," reply something like "You're well," speaking of yourself, and follow it. Whenever they take the thread that is "You are," "Who, you," "Yes, you are," and repeat it all the time, etc. Basically, you cut them off by mirroring, so they're unable to fight and leave, something which is very annoying and leads to a frustration. Their emotional reaction is your gain. Keep smiling, by the way, when doing so. Show you're not affected. You can't ever enable anyone to influence you or to treat in any bad way. It's required for you to let the enemy know that with you, it won't be easy from the very beginning, and if he decides to, he would get severe losses. Moral energy. Physicality is rarely involved. Require proofs and evidence. Check all, especially if a person is parasitic in nature / if it's required for your goals. Number 2. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 24. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 25. 1.11 Understanding this realm. It's a very important knowledge. On the beginning, it was suspended an infinite droplet of counter matter which had only two properties, motion and intelligence. Through a continuous movement which took more than half an eternity, a self-conscious programs developed. The one, which seized all the others, is called God, UI/Universal Intelligence, and he gained monopoly over his realm. After getting to know what has been possible to be known about his surrounding and the nature of counter matter, he faced a burning need to expand his knowledge, to have an advantage over the risk of being annihilated by other programs which might be possibly created beyond his realm or be unknown. It also served the purpose to get to know himself better, and it allowed his further development. Knowing to not create any competition in his realm, he perpetuated the creation of physical 27 world. 27 The reality you currently live in. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 26. Through trial and error a plan was devised and effects achieved, which allowed to be the most effective in realization of this goal. A dipolar gravity realm was created, which implicates that everything which exists is present in the two parallel worlds at one time. The substance from our physical world is characterized by mass, inertia, friction and lack of intelligence / the one existing in the countermatter has the inverse features, is weightless, self-mobile, super slippery and possesses a natural intelligence that is capable of thinking in its natural state, where the lines of gravity force converge to one border point, to disappear from our world through some sort of unseen barrier to show up in the separate from ours, parallel world. Tapping to this force gives an immense power. It's a knowledge about the nature of matter. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 27. More precisely, it's a dynamic system of expansion and contraction, bound by its own equilibrium, creating infinite potential within a finite boundary. All set into motion by a central black hole which by force of torque creates a two equal and opposite polarized magnetic fields, positive, negative. Atoms 28 are not pushed together, but rather pulled together by the negative contractant force of subatomic black holes, which is why protons, positive, are attracted to center and electrons, negative, are repelled outward. The resulting convergence of two opposite polar charges creates smaller fields of equilibrium known as neutron particles. The convergence of three separate planes creates the perception of a three-dimensional reality. 28 atoms are and represent those ultra-tiny, unseen to the naked eye, little building blocks from which everything in this reality is built from, including you. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 28. Entities were created to help to unravel the unknown, from the black vastness of knowledge. They were allowed to use the counter-matter to think for themselves, similarly as God, but being bound to reality which was created. However, the purpose for creation resulted from the requirement for survival, so an additional plan was brought into this reality. Implications of it are vast and allow to explain all, that is. Realm of ours is not the only one. God is not alone, however we populate his world. He is not perfect, he doesn't knows everything, and it's not about being good or evil for the people. Understand that. It's all 29 about the purpose. 29 It's only about the purpose / to be more precise. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 29. If other realm enters ours, it would mean an immediate war. Countermatter forces such pressure on the self-conscious programs which developed in it, God, to cause the development and to win those battles or to be annihilated and perish, forever / that is imagined blackness or nothing. Therefore, to meet the demands and ensure his survival, an additional plan was introduced to create also a very varied, versatile and unique gods which were prepared to deal with the danger, on their own. Think about it. A species procreates to cause the combinations of his many genes, so if a virus / bacteria would penetrate the defenses, it would kill only a part of the whole species, organism, as there would be certain units, parts, who are resistant to it. The same is, with the plan. The thing is, that when those two worlds collide, the fight would be perpetrated very probably on the enemy's grounds, so there would be no protective 30 arm of God with perhaps only access to the counter-matter. It's possible that such fight takes already place, somewhere in the universe. The current version of this reality features a software reversible 31 time 30 laws, set by him in this reality / that is in the form of 31. It's forever required for you to understand that you're living in his realm. Therefore you're obliged to act in a way consistent with the rules set. Number 1 / if not, you absurdly suffer, to be destroyed as a soul if you won't met the criteria / number 4.49, ending. It can be compared to living in somebody's home where rules have to be met, in order to stay and live. Adapt / number 2, or die. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 30. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 31. You're in this game alone, although cooperation of others is vital to your survival. It's only between you and the source. of varieties of souls 32 have been created and are residing in the register, the virtual world, with experiences and attained knowledge 33 imprinted in them. Physical 34 world is merely a testing ground for the preparation of those gods and expansion of the existing knowledge. It's nothing more. Settings of this world reflect the god's intents. It must resemble on one hand properties of the survival, deeply embedded into it, but the last usually didn't realizes the purpose of knowledge increase, so morality is imposed. Creatures populating it must also have a free will, so they would be enabled to use the counter matter for themselves, to learn the ability of thinking, where, on the last characteristic, an immense pressure is placed. Besides, certain actions need to be rewarded, with some heavily punished. It creates an array of problems, troubles and issues which need to be self-imposed. Furthermore, God's presence needs to be hidden because religious people God would give to them God help, which is a waste. To serve the purpose and to realize the plan. You were created maximally imperfect, because usually only stupid and dumb create a variety of problems, and the most mistakes, which serves the need for development, brings new knowledge at best. However, it couldn't be below the level of anarchy, because it won't bring much development at all, as most wouldn't be able to realize the goals of creation. To suit it best, genders were introduced, where a man was created slightly above the level of anarchy and woman, as a very important motivator for the first, even below it. Therefore a woman needs upbringing, by a strong man which she deeply desires. Number 4.1, those who do not possess confidence number 2.1, as the primary requirement for their development, intelligence and success, are typically exploited by the last, that use those weaknesses. The perfect and knowledgeable, use and apply their understanding and skill to the tasks, which brings little or no new knowledge contribution, as there is no need or way for improvement, usually. Everyone is born plain stupid and imperfect. He needs to work his way up and conquer his limitations, for example comfort zone, habits etc. Using the inverse rule to prepare you. Character and desired abilities are shaped through adversity and hardship. If it's good, there is no reason for change. The last forces you primarily to increase and seek for the new knowledge, to solve your constant problems and threats, which serves the higher purpose. Therefore, it's vital to know that there would always be the next step in the way, where you would be obligated to handle it and which might be bothering only to you. For instance, if your desire is to become a millionaire, you'd be faced with poverty. For example, in the childhood, even the very rich, they've got problems and issues, way beyond what's known to those who have financially little, as they're constantly faced with the imminent threats, financial loss, bankruptcy, competition, money allocation, investing risks etc. Enforcing survival of the fittest, promoting immorality, however silently rewarding only the moral. This double dealings can be only understood if you would see it from the bigger picture. You need to be prepared. Fight for yourself to become a hardened soldier in the process number 2 and life, although without attacking and destroying others who might not have stood the chance to grow or reach a certain level of skill. In the battle for life and death, which is to come, it's an obligatory requirement. 32 If a person or an animal dies, it loses immediately after, about couple 100 grams in weight. It can't be explained by any other conventional or physical means. Soul escapes through the pineal gland from the body which it previously incarnated. 33 You're born with a certain talents. Those are virtually skills and knowledge, which you've attained through persistent work and experience. Though previous incarnations, it's also extended to knowing certain things and being sure of them, possibly being trouble to explain. All always passes to the next reincarnation, but might be blocked to a certain point on purpose. A very rare occurrence. Usually something is introduced, like for example sickness in the early age, which has a task to limit those abilities. 34 The world you live in now. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 32. saving those evil, engaged in immoral activities people from the death/rescuing you. Knowledge, in order to be attained fully, needs to be followed from the both sides. It's never enough to read or have an education about anything from the books or from those who even did it, to become an expert in the field. One has to acquire the knowledge in practice, by committing those actions. Your value is judged by the ability to learn, on your mistakes/which is following of the immoral. Besides, it allows you to gain more wisdom/up to a point, number 1.12 and from the purpose, it's the most valuable. Passing the line of the highest learning effect, also known as the path of highest terror/resistance associated with taking the initiatives, paying back the karma/number 1.2, which also is brought when such the best learning effect takes a place/or any progress. A persistent effort, with high quality work and decent, high motivations, is required to establish and gain anything/usually 10,000 hours or more. It does not also imply that the counter matter is controlled along the intents, but your thoughts are too, the quality, progress and understanding you've reached at a given time and ability to do more. Promotion of untruths, funny soapy experts for instance, for example in television or other media, who promote falsehood and knowledge which is useless and not even reaching any far beyond anything. It's all to cause you to search and think for yourself. Those people are often taking high positions and are marked as an experts, having quite an influence of spreading the harm, blocking the development or not doing anything. Truth is being punished, and all the untruths are promoted. That is relativity theory, expanding cosmos, evolution from an ape etc. It won't be even touched. It's to promote the soldiers, who are created to avoid listening to anyone and to think for yourself. As your enemy would strive to put a fear in you, decrease morale or get you into various thinking traps etc. Exerting distorted truth. Everything is being changed or modified, so the original meaning isn't preserved, which changes the whole message. It forces you to rethink everything, all again. Even this work might be distorted in the future, if the text in its original form won't be preserved/spread. Nothing is immune to it. It serves the same purpose, but with the very important notice, your holy books are not guide written in a stone, as when the time passed, even if they were accurate, they were distorted by the laws. It forces you to constantly question all, even if your commands were given from the top. Promotion and subjective rewarding of the immoral characters. Your friend or somebody who you know went on the dark side. He received a huge support, financial bonuses and all from the devil as most would perceive. Why you, too, wouldn't take them, if it's only your signature. If your enemy is able to buy you with favors or a wealth given, you're unworthy. It's the end, for you. You won't get to the kingdom, as if you were participate in a war of the universes, being easily attracted to the material, you would betray your own kind, leaving yourself and others who supported you, weakened, and risking losing all that is. It's a commonly known knowledge that such traits cannot be promoted and are not desired. Temptations are always great, but those people are always punished in the end, because they're mainly not needed after all. Their work is either temporary/all is lost by them. Life. The jealous God puzzle. It's exploited by the occult, where certain entities were granted power in order to get humans worshipping them. For instance, they might solve all your problems, change the thoughts of your boss/creditors/co-workers/loved ones, etc. You can get the winning bets, get all the other benefits you're seeking for, usually for the exchange of some kind. If it's not fulfilled, it's like a death sentence, all will collapse. The majority however worships entities, unknowingly, who give them nothing/it won't and can't be even touched. Nothing more can be added. If you would be blinded by the benefits and betray your master, going on the enemy side, you're unworthy. You can't serve two masters, only and forever one, from the very good reasons. Thinking is required in every step. If you've accepted a falsehood and keep it long-term as a truth, without questioning or sensing something wrong, you're not an intelligent being, who thinks for himself and doesn't goes with the crowd. Your value is not much more of a cattle who gets stranded/slaughtered. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 33. Various simulations introduced to this reality to confirm it's an illusion. For example, by placing a temporary blood-bone people in your reality, solely controlled by the God laws set by him and soulless, tapping into your subconscious and causing you to release that is your hand, to cause 35 a certain action or be brought to them, by controlling your thoughts through the mechanisms guiding the wisdom and understanding, also by not allowing you to pick a certain ideas too quickly, before you haven't worked the previous fully, but also happening of the miracles in your life, which can confirm that this reality is highly controlled and a grand illusion with a higher purpose. It might give you at least a partial answer why this world isn't as you are hoping for and your life might look not as you wish, yet why you're constantly pushed into something where you would like to rest or take a break, harassed and all the various left. It might be easier to accept and face it than to run away, because if so is done/number 2, you would get 36 the time for yourself, on the end of each stage. In order for you to become God, which is a hardened soldier able to stand up for the protection of his world, you need to attain certain characteristics, skills, experience and primarily learn the ability to think. It's commonly accepted, as for example, you won't know on how to do certain things, like for example create a multi-billion-dollar business from the scratch or many other highly skillful tasks. On this basis, you're placed through various lives into bodies, life ages and situations which have a goal to prepare you and to serve the best, the purpose. Those who know and follow, flourish, despite the pain involved. Those who don't, suffer. To understand your reality, you need to know the intents of your master or masters. Without it, it's futile. In this realm you can do whatever you want, but laws would apply to you as well. It's very easier to play a game, when you know the rules of what's being rewarded and what's desired, to win in it. Apply it then, to your principles and everyday acting. As you might have already concluded from the text, those souls, which do not met the standards or constantly fail to improve, are destroyed, eternally. It means, the end of you, forever. Those who would pass the tests thrown at them and would prove their value in the face of God by their actions, willingness to change and the usage of their intelligence, would become gods, which would gain immortality/number 2. You're prepared for your whole lifetimes to become one, but only from you lies the answer whether you would succeed or fail. The most versatile/the best, prepared, would stand 37 for this reality, in the case of imminent danger. The rest, who didn't achieve the desired traits, level of knowledge, skill and thinking abilities through the systems applied in this reality, would be erased. That is permanent ending of your existence, in the period, when the time 38 comes, War of Realms. 35 Essential to know, is that experts are merely those, who committed/perpetuated all the mistakes as it prepares you for the achievement, as required by the laws/or was learned, before, being, the highest understanding. 36 Either have it in the periods of relax, in order to further the realization of the tasks given/number 2. 37 If our universe would be annihilated, because preparation of the whole would be insufficient, that is as it might happen/it's likely that those the best will be embedded into the reality of the enemy to serve his needs. It means, you would survive, even if the whole collapses. 38 Number 4.49, see ending for more. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 34. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 35. 1.11xf. Inner desires of the soul is a sole purpose of it all, which leads to the increase of micro. Imagine that you run a shop, a pack of thieves visits you regularly to steal from you, for you to be left on the end of month with inventory barely to go by. It's what's done basically by you, if you didn't learn and applied the previous chapter. You shouldn't perceive parasites as threat, but rather 39 as a food opportunity to take. Same. When the thief from your shop is running away, dropping his equipment like torch, crowbar, balaclava, they're yours to take as to prevent him from the future immoral activity/jobs. Defense against parasite attacks drains them from moral energy and you gain it, if their offensive was unsuccessful. It takes time to master and watch yourself. Moral energy represents your life. If you're allowing any parasite to rob yourself from it, you're losing your happiness and future, basically. Any perspective for further development on the spiritual level, which brings a significant change in your way of living, that is expansion of the shop, increase of earnings, a path to financial freedom. Learn how to protect your level of energy, first. In order for you to survive/live in this realm, you're forced to generate moral 40 energy for yourself. It can be done, the easy way or the hard way, through work/job. Draining it from others might be a solution, but it's dangerous, and even the very best would soon drop below, as nobody can sustain himself only from living the life of a parasite. Most, however, don't know the easy way, so they're initially forced to work in their daily jobs. This document is about bringing this knowledge, usage of which gives you the very best chance to change your situation, by allowing to know how to earn this energy, the easiest and the most appealing for you way possible, being itself alone, the pleasurable 41 way, through work, which isn't really a work/to work, but to not work yourself and earn countless micro, number 1.1 and the money. Look at the table on next pages and pinpoint where you are, at the present moment of life. 39. Your task is to start to love it. It would be possible when you learn on how to extract them effectively in every defense attack/ that is when you completely cease to fear and improve your skill of touching the sensitive to them/ number 1.11x. 40 life energy/ called in other terms, interpreted directly as it is. 41 however, not initially, when the deficits of your knowledge, skill and understanding are immense/ that is qualities. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 36. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever. 37. Reactive, proactive. Immoral. Moral. Characteristics. No goal. 42. In life, you react to the visible or what enters your reality, to the events, circumstances. They're waiting of the soul. You've been already in such state or you'd be in the way of your life. You might be in it, currently. You've got a goal in life and invest into its realization, but the last is immoral. For example, selling drugs, thievery, speculative play on stock market. 43. Or gambling. You've got a purposeful goal set in life, to which realization you 44 strive. Option 1. The task 45 is not set accordingly to the inner desires of your soul, for example set out of fear of failure in life / the need to do something. 46. Option 2. You're going along the inner drives of your soul / that is the only soul option, which makes you invincible. Typically, you've got a steady job, stability, but you lack something in life. The last might be empty and may lead to a depression. You've established a business, as it's mainly associated with profit, or a partnership venture, but the increasing amount of problems and impossibility to deal with them, that slowly but steadily arise, creates an influx of pain, drug usage and erratic behavior due the very reason of the immoral activity. It's attached with / profits may be staggering. It progresses with a drop of moral field, number 0.1, and leads to suffering, in the end. You may or might not have money, but you tend to always have or find the resources needed. As similarly with the true, proactive immoral, you've got a sense in life, for which you strive, that is to do and be / become the best in. You feel that you live with an ever-increasing sense of mission and purpose, where you invest all of you, in the process. Option 1. You'd very fast run yourself out, as when the motivations are lower in the worse/later terms, typically after launching a venture, idea or a particular work, you would quit or leave it. 42. It has to be a long-term goal, clearly specified, that is a particular sum of money, opening a business with X, and you have to strive for its realization through an active effort/not get yourself high for today or send a lottery ticket. Number 4.3. Either opening a business or wants which are never realized proactively. 43. The last might be a part of your reactive life, but the thought process and effort dictates where it really is placed. 44. It's required to just start the process/number 2 at the very beginning of journey by being open to new ideas, possibilities, responsive to thoughts which you execute immediately. 45. An example: you're opening a courier/moving/shipments country to country company because you've seen, spotted, heard, felt that others succeeded at it making money, but you do it for the cash solely and predominantly, not for the purpose that is commonly not liking it/not set accordingly to the inner desires of your soul. Its only distinction is in the mind. You actively develop yourself in those tasks, proactive moral. Where that is in job, you just do it to get paid, not being engaged in it at the conscious level/at 100%, just to do your work, to get by/that is the reactive state. 46. It might be a reactive state, in certain instances. Also can be set solely from the fear of loss. The most important knowledge you would ever read, implement and live up to forever.